Hello and welcome to Wisdom in Action, the podcast where we explore what it takes to bridge the gap between knowing and doing, because that's where the real wisdom is born. I'm Vinaya, resilience coach and podcast strategist, and I created this space to have honest conversations with real experts and bring you practical insights you can apply, not just think about. Today, we are joined by Vinaya, a karmic awareness catalyst, crystal reader, and spiritual coach with over 30 years of experience helping people reconnect with their true power. At just 22 years of age, Vinaya left societal expectations behind and began a 50-year journey across Europe and Asia in search of truth. Along the way, he encountered a spiritual master who shifted his focus inward, leading him to help others transform fear into love, awaken their unique gifts, and experience deep freedom from the self. Which is interesting, freedom from self. Vinaya, welcome to Wisdom in Action.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It's a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you on. I'm really curious to get into this. So to start us off, what is one piece of wisdom that changed everything once you started applying it?
The biggest piece is understanding that my mind has no clue and my heart is actually always right. So following my feelings, following my intuition, my gut feeling, my vision is a sure way to create a wonderful life.
How did you get to that realization? That's quite a realization to have.
Through experience, really. When I started off this journey, when I was 21, 22, I'm not quite sure when that actually was.
This is a while ago.
It's like 50 years ago. Oh my God. I, against all logic, followed my heart. Like I went to my parents and I said, I need to go to India. I can't be here anymore. I can't fit into this German box. And I got a really wonderful argument from my mother that that is not a good idea. I have to work. I have to get pension later when I get old. I have to do what one needs to do in according to society. And I just go like, sounds right. And I really need to go. It's like, it really feels right. And then she goes, yeah, but what are you going to do when you're old? I don't know. I find out when I'm old what I'm going to do. And then I started off this journey. And ever since, I've been just flowing around the planet and following my heart and learned when I follow my mind, I'm in trouble. And I'm not in a space I actually really want to be. And I would have quite a few examples for that, like, yeah, you're not supposed to go to town. I knew it. Here, it didn't feel right. And my mind goes, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. So I went, had an accident, broke my shoulder. Boom. That was like the most intense experience of going against my heart and following my mind. So through experience, I learned that the heart is always right and knows what is right for me and always brought me into the right places. And flowing through this experience of planet Earth without really knowing what I'm going to do tomorrow. Okay, I might have an idea and I might have a plan, but I'm always open to change. And also not knowing what I'm going to do next is not a problem for me because I know that, okay, I don't know right now, it will come. And then at one point it will come. And it always came. And then I suddenly am there, or do this or that. And actually, through 50 years of following my heart, I can attest that I had and have a fantastic experience here on planet Earth. And it's just wonderful.
There's quite a few things that I want to touch just on what you shared alone. First question I had is, How do you know the difference between the heart and the mind?
Okay. Well, we do know if something feels right or not. Right is not necessarily the wrong word, but something feels exciting
Aligned?
or aligned or in the flow. There is a feeling, and I learned to listen to that. And what I also understood is the heart or the intuition is the very, very first thing which comes. And a split second later, the mind comes in and starts to argue.
Ah.
Like, I have a good example for that. I was in Ecuador, I lived in Ecuador for 9 years, and I had a motorbike. And so I went to town to go shopping, and I always put my key on my belt. That morning, for some reason, I wanted to put it on my bag. I knew instantly, and it's like a different taste of knowing that that's not a good idea. And instantly my mind goes, well, what's the problem? You always take care of your bag. Not a problem. Okay, cool. Put it on my bag. Yeah. An hour later, the bag was full. Friend went home a few miles away. I said, hey, can you take my bag? It's like a different taste, and through experience and really being in the present and learning to listen to this very, very first thing which comes. We learn how to recognize the voice of our intuition, of our heart, of our being. It's a learning curve. And when I give readings and people have challenges to follow this or listen to this, there's a wonderful exercise which I like to share. It's like basically, okay, I have a decision to make. Suddenly Spain comes into my head, or this job comes into my head. So what I do is I close my eyes, I become conscious of my breath, and then crazy, I go heart. I am in Spain. How does it feel?
Mm.
I get a feeling. Heart. I am doing this job. How does that feel? So I learned to be more aware and attentive to this feeling. And even though not everybody has a feeling, but there's a certain knowing. I know, but I'm not listening.
That was my next question with sometimes we might even hear it, but with that, how to, well, I think there's two questions there. How to trust it and how to actually act on it, especially with all the external, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't go to India, here's all the reasons where maybe even your external environment is giving you feedback that that's not the right thing to do, even if you know internally it's the right thing. How to trust that when externally you might have the feedback that no, that's not for you, or it's not the right thing.
Just trust it. Don't listen to the outside because I don't know what's right for you in any given moment. So when I give an argument that you can't go to India, like my mother did, she just came from her story, from her upbringing, from her ideas how life is supposed to be, which has nothing to do with mine. We are all unique. We are all different. We all have a different way or a different path, different gifts. And just taking the courage to listen and follow that. Never mind the mind. Never mind the arguments of the outside. Yeah. So it's basically just jump, ask questions later.
It's actually one thing that I talk a lot about. I have another podcast called Chase the Impossible, and I would have these. Like good example is half Ironman, which is like endurance triathlon. And last year I signed up to do it 90 days before the race. I had barely finished half marathon. You finish half Ironman with half marathon. I have no background in triathlon, have never been on a road bike, haven't really done proper open water swimming practice, and I have 90 days to figure it out and show up for the race. And in that moment when I signed up, I knew I'm not in a place where I can actually physically finish it. And but along the way, through taking steps and showing up and taking those actions, I kind of got to this, and I have had other experiences like that where I got to this concept of commit before you're ready, where I would feel drawn to that, and I would be in a place where I'm like, I'm not in a place where I can do it. Or I would have these stories come up of all the reasons and everything, like the mind. But then I would still, sometimes I don't know why. Despite all the stories, I would still go ahead. I still would take that action. And a lot of it has been doing it before I'm ready or jumping off the cliff without knowing what's behind or what's below, what's ahead of me. And with that, actually, I have another question on you said about that you're always open to change. And I think it's something that I have seen and also experienced that a lot of times we have this resistance towards change, towards especially uncertainty that comes with the change. How, and you said that you're okay with not knowing what to do next, which I think would freak out a lot of people. Just what do you mean you're okay with that? That's so can you talk a bit more on that? Because I think the only or one of the very few things that are certain in life, that there is nothing certain really, is
Right.
that you will have uncertainty.
Right. There's nothing certain except at one point we will leave our body. That's the only certainty we have in this life.
That's true. That's true. That is certain.
Yeah, that's the certainty. And everything else is in the clouds. Everything is uncertain. And it's always also absolutely clear, I think, for everybody, easy to understand that I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. I don't know. I have a plan. God is laughing, mind you. But, and sometimes I can achieve that plan and go where I want to go. And most of the time, that's not necessarily happening. So I really learned that, yeah, I don't know. So then coming out of this experience of like, okay, I don't know. Like, for example, I was living with my partner in Ecuador for 9 years, and suddenly it was clear it's done, but no clue what to do, no clue where to go.
Mm.
So I stepped in the space of, okay, I know this is done, and now I'm waiting for existence to give me a sign. Well, a few months later, oh, come to that festival. So we left. And then suddenly we never came back because it was 2020 and you were actually allowed to come back.
Oh.
And so we stayed in Costa Rica for a few years. And then suddenly, like, yeah, but this is not really it. Hmm, no clue where to go. Suddenly Mexico came up. Oh, so we lived a few years in Mexico. So it's really like stepping into this understanding that I really don't know what is my right path to the very end, or if it's correct to stay in Ecuador or Costa Rica for the rest of my life. Always going with that feeling and trusting that. And then through experience, one will see I'm always in the right place. So I don't need to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to town and do blah, blah, blah. I might do this or not. But like for the bigger picture, how do I get more empowered? How do I really create a life worth living? How do I find out where to live and what to do? In the end, we really don't know here in the head, but we do know in the heart. And sometimes it's a challenge for people through trauma and very intense programming to really figure that out. And that's where I can help with crystal readings and coaching. But also, we all know, wait a minute, this is not feeling right. I forgot what I really am here for because I've been programmed to be a doctor, but actually that was not my path. My path was to be a singer or whatever. So it's really an exercise or an awareness of like, how do I feel? Does that feel right or not? Because the heart always knows. Don't ask me how that works, but it does work because I can attest that for 50 years of living in wonderful,
And
fantastic.
sometimes it's okay not to know. You just need to know that it works.
Yes, yes, yes. And I really don't know. I mean, okay, I know what I love to do is like helping people step into their power and rediscovering their gifts and enjoying life. But for what reason? In the end, what does it do for me besides having in this moment an absolutely wonderful experience? I don't need to know. When I follow my intuition, my heart, and being in the present, I don't need to know because I know, again, out of 50 years of experience, I'm always in the right place. I always meet the people who are more beneficial, or I am more beneficial, or what. It's always correct. And yes, in the beginning, it's an understanding that, wait a minute, there's something missing. I need to find that. And that's the first step. And then bit by bit, through meditation, through travel experience, through what, I get there. Sure.
I have a question with following the heart.
Yeah.
What to do with things that you feel led or decisions that you feel led to make, especially bigger ones, moving somewhere, changing careers, things like that, that might cause fear, or maybe it is something, because I have had some experiences where well, from my experience so far, I think I have been quite well with listening to that and actually following that. But the first time when I felt like okay, so backstory, I'm originally from Latvia, and I always have been like had really good marks, everything. And I knew that I wanted to study psychology. Always been into it. Initially, it started with what's wrong with me? How do I fix myself? Like I think most psychologists start, and that curiosity led me to, like, sometimes I would literally after school, or sometimes I would even, and I had really good reason to skip the school because of my back issues I would have at the time. I would literally go to a cafe and spend all day watching videos on psychology, reading books, and that kind of stuff. I was really into that world, still am, and uh, and that led me to wanting to study psychology. And initially, my parents had some resistance. They were like, maybe you should need to do something more like with business related and things like that, because I had like really good marks, and ended up agreeing. So I got in budget place. There's only like two budget places, I think. And so I have like everything is good. I'm about to study what I want, and I start to study. And actually, at the open day of the uni, they mentioned sports psychology, and I'm like, what's that? Because I was thinking all this time, how do I combine training with psychology? And then
Mhm.
I heard about sports psychology, and as I was studying the first year, I started to look into it, and I found that I can't study it in my country. We don't have the program, and even the thought of going somewhere else. I I haven't been ever on a plane, so I don't have experience with the travel, or going places, or things like that. Apart from just like going around within the country with family, some places. Never lived alone, nothing like that. But I felt so drawn to it, and I don't even know how I had enough courage to go through that thing. And I still had a lot of fear because there was so much uncertainty. I literally was listening to my friend's audio messages as I was on the airport, and she was telling, okay, this is the next thing that will happen. And I'm listening, okay, so I need to do this. Okay, I'm looking for this. And I had never been in an airport, never seen that. And it was really scary experience, and there were so many things that also like went wrong, things like that, but I still ended up applying, going through it, getting into uni, studying there, which has been profound experience. Like so many, I'm definitely a different person because of that. But as I was going through it, it was a really scary process. There was a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty to go through. Even if it felt like the right thing to do, I still have no idea how my parents allowed me to do that, to be honest. But with that, the question I have is how how to navigate it when you feel like it is the right thing for you, but that decision might feel so scary that maybe you are in this good situation. Like for example, I was in budget place, I was studying what I wanted, I was tutoring kids on the side, so I was doing what I wanted on in my own terms, on my own time. I had plenty of time to exercise, which I love to do. So I had everything set out really nicely. I was in really good place, but I still felt drawn to that, and that felt initially so scary and so uncomfortable that sometimes I literally would have these thoughts of like, why do I have these like, why do I have to go there? Why am I drawn to that? Why can't I just be like, sit still where I am? I'm good. And with that, like how to trust that or how to navigate it when you feel drawn towards something, but it is scary, and it might seem like the mind jumps in of, but you're in such a good place, like everything is fine.
How to navigate that? Dang, good question.
Or how have you navigated it?
It never really came up.
Oh.
That feeling when I started off this overland journey to India, I had no clue how to get there. And so I got myself a book and just started, like, it was Southeast Asia on a shoestring or something like, or on a budget or whatever. And I just went. I I guess I had a different, I'm different.
Actually,
And
now that you're talking about it, I think I had something similar. There was uncertainty, there was discomfort, but there was still that knowing that I think that unknowing might have led me more, or it was more strong than that uncertainty or fear that might come with that unknowing. But with that, actually, question would be like, what do you think is getting in people's ways to actually take action on what they feel drawn to?
trauma is one thing. And also being in the space of, I'm not good enough, I'm not able to do that. And that's all programming and that's all coming from the outside. Yeah. My father always said, I'm not good enough with my hands. I always have two left hands. I can't do anything right, which
Yeah.
in his book was correct. Later,
Uh,
I just kind of dropped it and go like, no, I can do that. And then I learned it and then I could do it. So the major thing besides trauma is like, I don't want to go out of my comfort zone. I know
uh,
my misery, I know my pain, and that's how it is. And I have no idea if I go to India what's going to happen. No, I don't. And I have to have a look. Am I really content? Am I really wanting to do this, whatever that is, for the rest of my life and be actually not really happy? Hmm, no, I don't. So then I just have to, like, there was this one master, he was dying, and his disciple said, like, who is your master? And he goes, oh, I can't tell you. I don't have time enough. I'm just about to die. There's thousands, but I tell you of three, and I want to tell you of one. I was sitting in the desert at a river, and a dog came very thirsty. And he went to the river, bent over, saw his reflection, got scared, and ran away. That happened like 5, 6 times. Finally, the thirst was so great that despite his fear, he just jumped. And that's what we have to do. Well, we don't have to, but if we want to create a life really according to myself or ourselves, sometimes we just have to jump. And on top of that, Osho, the master I was studying under for quite a while, he mentioned one time that, there's two different kinds of fears. There's a fear of like, okay, when I jump down this cliff, I'm probably going to die. There's a fear, and I'm not going to do that. But there's another kind of fear which we experience when we want to follow our feelings, our passion. It's kind of like a uncomfortable and fear we have in the belly. That's where you want to go because your ego is going, hey, we're not going to go there. Like, I'm afraid of that because in the end, when we become more present and being more ourselves, our ego, these programmed ideas and stuff like this is going to die. And that's a no-no for the ego. And so it will inflict fear in us. But it's a different kind of fear. It's like, like a, it's hard to describe, but we all have that experience. That's exactly in the direction I want to go. So one can use one's fear as a signpost, that direction. That's where you want to go. The ego
Actually,
has, but your being wants to go there.
it's something that um I was a co-host in another podcast, Magnetic Masculinity, and we were talking about shame. And there was a brilliant thing that she shared. She was like, chase the shame.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what we do with shame, it isolates us, it closes down. She was telling, chase the shame, follow it, act on it. Also let it out. Because the moment it comes out, it's like it disappears. I have had plenty of experiences with that. You have all this shame and then you face it or chase it, and it's like it goes away the moment you take action, whatever that is, whether to say something or to go to that class or take that trip or say this to this person. It's like it instantly vanishes the moment it's out
Yes.
in the light.
Yes.
I also wanted to talk to you about the concept of freeing from yourself.
Right.
Can you talk about, well, maybe we can start with what does it mean?
Well, I might have to rephrase it at one point, but so far I love that. Freedom from myself, this myself part is a programmed story we all got. And I think that's me. I'm a German, I'm a what? Yeah, there is a story I have which I think I am, which in the end is not true. And in the end, that story, which we all take on because it's in the first 7 years of our life, we get programmed, and that's very unconscious. Becoming free of that is the goal. Because once I'm free of the story I've been told, you're a man, you're a German, you need to be a father, you need to be a worker, whatever the story is. Once I become free of that, I have freedom because you can see who I really am. And yeah, that is not my story. And what what we want to understand maybe also is that existence, God, the universe, whatever you want to name that, never, ever produces something the same. There's never a carbon copy, and everything is created perfect. Not according to my society. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm definitely not. According to existence and according to me, I am. Yeah. and having that freedom to be yourself. Never mind the judgment of other people. Never mind the judgment of society. Because God, the universe, created me this way. And that's perfect. And that is freedom from, I should call it the programmed self.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
could
way of
I could definitely see that, because it's something that I think initially it might actually be quite hard to distinguish one from the other, because we have this I'm just this way.
yeah,
I have always been this way. That's just the way I am. How to distinguish which one is the story, which one is the true self?
that is a long journey in times. It's a journey of inquiry, journeying to going inside. How do I really feel? It's a journey of becoming more aware of my programs. Yeah, like, yeah, okay, you have two left hands. Yeah, but that's according to your standard. According to my experience, no, I'm really good with my hands. I'm really good with my hands. I can pretty much repair anything and create anything. So, really, inquiry and self reflection and introspection is a tool. And meditation works, awareness workshop, breath workshops. There's millions of different, well, not millions, but there's quite a few different ways of,
I think it's getting close to that.
that's getting close to that. There's quite a few ways of becoming more aware. There's plant medicines, there's again meditations, there's awareness exercises where we just become aware of like looking at how we habit to it, out of a habit, react every time the same. Once I become aware of that, I go like, oh, wait a minute. How do I really feel? What do I really want to say? How do I really want to respond to this statement or this situation? And it's a constant reflection and a constant looking at oneself. How does that feel? That and it's not necessarily I do this one time and suddenly I'm there.
Yeah, I
No,
was
it's a
about to say that.
lifetime process. And the requirement again is like, am I really fulfilled? Am I really happy? Yeah, okay, I'm safe. But does it really bring contentment and love and happiness and freedom? Yeah, so that I can actually say no. I don't want to do this right now. Yeah, but I don't care. It doesn't feel right. I'm not doing it. And even though from the standpoint of the other person, I'm absolutely wrong. From my standpoint, I'm absolutely right. And the best way to maybe explain it is like if you draw a number 6 on the ground and one stands on the left and one stands on the right. It's the best example. For you, it's a 9, but for me, it's a 6. We are both right from
Yeah.
our perspective. And that is the most important one. We are all unique. We are all different. We all have a different gifts, all have a different path. So judgment from the outside, forget about it. Look inside. Does it feel right? Is it aligned with myself? And yeah, sometimes I fall on the nose and do something not beneficial, but then I learn, oh, that's not my way. That doesn't work for me. So I'm not going to do that again.
With
Yeah,
the
it's a long journey.
Thank you for saying that, because I think more of us need to hear it more often. Because I think a lot of times, especially with instant gratification world that we live, you get everything instantly. But when it comes to understanding yourself or connecting with yourself, even building relationships, not just with yourself, but with others as well, or building your character, building anything really, business, whatever might be the case, all that takes time. It's a process. And there was one entrepreneur that I was listening where it really clicked with me when he said that the moment he understood that there's no finish line, it changed everything. Because I think a lot of times we're on this path and we're just waiting. When is the finish line? When am I gonna get there? And even when he said it, it's like in my mind that finish line is now erased. There's no finish line. It's just a constant process, constant journey, and that's really the beauty of it all. Is just being on that journey, having that experience, and going through the ups and downs and all the turns and twists, whatever comes with it. Is just being with it and being present to it without. Which is one thing that I actually wanted to ask you. With that, having different perspectives, because I think that's a like many concepts, since a lot of them take time to actually even understand or live. Live is even more time than understanding. Easier said than done. Because I think it's okay, I understand. I have my perspective, you have your perspective. We both are right based on our backgrounds, experiences, and the whole thing. But how do we integrate it in each other's lives where we can actually apply it? We actually accept each other as we are. And not only that, we support each other into expressing and becoming more of who we truly are, instead of or without pushing our expectations, our perceptions on the other person. Do you have any advice there? Because it's something that I see so much happening, and I have gone through a lot of that, and I'm being really mindful of meeting people where they are and actually not thinking that I know what's best for them.
Yeah. Um, well, I believe or I think, or I experienced better that once I accept myself fully, with even all the so-called negative parts of me,
Yeah.
which are only from your perspective, not necessarily from my perspective. When I accept myself totally and understand that we are all different, it's not that I have to accept you, but I automatically accept you. I might not necessarily vibe with it. I might not necessarily like it from my way of being. And that's your story. I have nothing to do with that.
Mm.
And then I give the other person the freedom to accept themselves and accept me. And then we can live together perfectly. Yeah, we
Mm.
don't do things together, but I can accept that you drink alcohol all day long. Yeah, that's your story. Fine. If you feel fulfilled and happy, and if you think that's necessary, great. I might suggest things, but also it doesn't matter to me if you accept that and follow that or not, because it's your life and I live my life, and I'm not interfering with your life until you interfere with mine, and then I go like, oops, hang on a second. But when
Yeah.
we are free in this flow of being who we are and accepting ourselves the way we are, understanding that the judgment is from your perspective, but not from mine. It's not my experience. It's not my path. We are all free. We are all great. And Osho one time said, like, or I'm paraphrasing it, but basically it's like, there are no rules except one: do not harm or interfere with my life. And once I follow that, it's all good. We can all live together totally different and be who we are. And maybe one more thing I would like to say, I hope that answered your question, but
Yeah.
think about the finishing line. What I learned is that, yes, there is no finishing line. And when I understand that and then suddenly relax in the moment and be here, I'm already there.
That is true. That is very true.
I don't need to get somewhere. I just need to be here. And then I'm there already, which is
That is
actually
very
here.
true.
So it's like a little bit of a what?
It's a twist, but it's so true. It's like we always look for the thing where or place we want to be instead of being where everything actually happens, which is now here in this moment,
Yeah,
which we are in all the time.
yeah,
It's right in
exactly.
front of us.
We are not because we think we need to be like that. Oh,
Right. It's right in front of us, but we're not always in it.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
So it's
So, how to
go
be
ahead.
in it? How to connect with it?
I was just going to say something
Okay.
about that. Beautiful exercise or meditation, but I don't call meditation anymore because being in meditation is not doing anything, just being present, right? So I call it an exercise. So a good exercise to be present is sit down somewhere, close your eyes, become conscious of your breath, 2, 3 breaths, open your eyes, and be here. It's as simple as that. And then if I can also feel grateful,
Hmm.
I'm allowed to experience that. I'm alive. Thank you, universe. Wow. We're even more in the present. And also in that moment, I can see that right now, there's no problem. There's nothing to worry about. Everything is perfect. I'm breathing. I'm not necessarily hungry. If I'm hungry, the next moment I go and eat something. But right now, perfect. And being in that presence with oneself, with the universe, it's again a little bit of a fake it till you make it exercise. Yeah. But if one practice that once, twice a day, just sit on the balcony or on the grass or even on a park bench in the middle of the city, just dropping in, because when we become conscious of our breath, we are here. We
Yeah.
cannot be in the mind, we cannot be in the past, we cannot be in the future, we cannot be in anything except here. Wow.
I actually say this a lot about them. So I do a lot of the winter swims outdoors, and I usually say it's my kind of meditation because when you're in the cold, you don't think about the work. All I think about is my breath
Yes.
and connecting with myself, connecting with the water, and just being in it and being present. And that has been for me definitely has like well it's hard not to be present when you're freezing. But it's like a shortcut in my experience to being present. But because in that moment, initially, your body goes in survival mode. You go like you kind of like want to get the air. And that's where like I started to post content about it, and I had like one video get like 2 million views or something. So overnight I became a cold expert, and I would have a lot of people in comments ask me like, how long do I stay in the water, and that whole thing, and I would tell, I have no idea how long I'm staying there, because I feel that the moment I start to focus on time, I'm actually distracting myself from what matters, which is my breath and me being connected with my body and in charge of my body through that. And usually I know the time only when I get out and I see how long the video is. That's how I know how long I was in there. And it's also some days my body feels good. I can stay a bit longer. Some days I know I won't be in long because it's just the way my body feels today. But it's, for me, it has been, it's like it's my example of me being in the moment and being present, where I have learned that nature can help me to actually be in this moment, be present. And especially when I sometimes when there's like some waves, I'm literally just like sitting there and meditating, just like connected with the water, breathing and focusing on the breath. It's a really beautiful experience. And now if that can be translated in literally any experience in your life at any moment, you just take the breath in, you open your eyes, you're in this moment. It's actually interesting how we take for granted even as, I don't know if that's a simple thing, but a simple thing as being alive.
That's a major miracle. And I've heard one person, I don't know who that was, saying that there's billions and billions and billions of souls who would love to be incarnated. You are the fortunate one. You get to be here. And that's, with that exercise of like being in the present and going grateful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having this experience. I think it's somewhat helpful to actually come again and again in the present and the gratefulness of like how amazing that actually is. And that includes breaking one's leg and having pain, or it's all just an experience.
Sometimes we need reminders.
Yes. But really, like what you do with the cold water, you can take that feeling, remembering that feeling of being in the presence and breathing, do it on the bus, do it when you're in the bathroom,
Very true.
when you eat, when you walk. You can all the time immediately remembering, and then you can walk and watch yourself walking. You're totally in the present. Eating. Instead of eating and talking and looking at the phone and, doing whatever we use.
Five things at the same time.
Yeah. But
Because we don't have enough time to do it all, so we have to do everything.
yes, so just being present with the taste, being present with the chewing, just being here. It's the tour to not needing to go to a finish line, but just be here. And then suddenly you're there. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
I think one of the best highlights, I think, from this conversation is that once you're here, you're actually there already.
Right. Remind us, what are you talking about?
But then once it actually clicks, it's like, oh, I'm already here? And all this time, I've been focusing on being there, but there is here.
And there doesn't exist. I don't even know if I get
Even better.
wherever
Even
that
better.
is. But I'm here.
And that exists.
Perfect. This is,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
then I'm in that space of enlightenment, of presence, of being one with everything. Ah,
I love this. I feel like we're barely scratching the surface of the conversation. But since we're coming to an end, before I ask you the last question, where can people learn about you, connect with you, and get to work with you?
very simple. Go on my website, make an appointment, and connect with me.
We will have all the details in the show notes as well.
Yeah, there's a page of sessions and the retreats I do with my partner and about me, and it's pretty simple. And
Yeah.
yeah, you just connect with me, and we get together, and you can ask for readings. or book a reading. And if you're inspired, we can do coaching, or we do for 4 to 8 weeks, depends on the person. Meet twice a week, see where we're at, see what's the next step. Because my gift is to be able to connect with anybody energetically and then see from your higher self, from your being, what is the next step? What is the most beneficial way to get where you actually wanted to go to here?
Actually being the key word.
Right. All the programming happened and you forgot all about it. Yeah, and then we can explore that and work on that. And
All right.
yeah, on my website, easiest way. Or come to the Sacred Valley in Peru, where I'm at the moment. For how long, nobody knows.
Until your heart gonna say to go to the next place.
Then suddenly, whoa, yeah, that sounds interesting. Let's see it. I'm going.
Ah, I love it. So, last question I have for you.
Yeah.
What is one piece of wisdom you're still learning to live?
Say that again.
What is one piece of wisdom you're still learning to live?
I had through my partner, who is very educated and experienced in plant medicines and helping people to go on journeys. I received a MDMA session with one of her co-students when she was learning. And the guy asked me, what do you need to change? That might sound very interesting. I don't. I'm absolutely perfect.
Perfect as you are.
I feel totally perfect. And these things people tell me to change, that's from their story. That has nothing to do with me. And I don't harm anybody. I always have a great time. I'm most of the time present. I forget sometimes, but I have no
Yeah.
problem with that.
You're human. That's fine.
Exactly. There's some anger coming up sometimes, but again, I have no problem with that because there was something happening which triggered something in me, which I could look at, which I usually do, and there's no problem in it. There is no problem with us when we step into the present and into ourselves. And through the teaching I received in India, through Osho and my life experience, and seeing how my life is, I don't want to change anything. It's double F. And that's a word I'm not supposed to say, but I'm saying it. Fucking basket. So
Who said you're not allowed to say it?
definitely my mother and some other
Oh, okay.
F word, that's really bad. It was like, oh, really? Yeah. So, yeah,
All
no,
right.
it's not that I'm aware of. It was actually in this MDMA session where I was sitting with a therapist or with a guide. Um, you're really present and you're really in love with yourself. And I could really look and nothing came up. No, I'm great. I'm perfect. So I'm not so sure if there's anything else to learn or to change. It might come up at one point, and then I'm just looking at it and see what happens and, you know, go from there. But right now, in this moment, might sound very arrogant to most people, but no, it's just a fact.
It might even be, I might look at it as something that a lot of us might be blind to. You are already perfect as you are. We just we just don't see it because we focus on that fixing and improving, which is not a bad thing. We all are work in progress in many ways,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that you're not perfect as you are right now.
Correct. Yes.
And it's a really beautiful insight for all of us that we might have, is that maybe I'm already perfect as I am. It doesn't mean that there's nothing to work on, or no patterns or behaviors, anything that I might want to change or whatever. But it doesn't mean that I'm not enough, or whatever might be the belief that we might be holding.
That comes back to the universe does not create anything imperfect. I might not see it, but the universe does.
Well, this has been really, really fun and insightful. Thank you for coming on, sharing your extensive wisdom, and giving a chance for our listeners to also listen in and gain some wisdom themselves.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to talk and share and be present.
Yeah. And to all of the listeners, if you're somebody with 20 plus years of experience and you want to be on a podcast, there'll be a link in the show notes where you can apply. We would love to have you on. And if you want to start a podcast, be on podcasts, or you're tired of doing all the work for your podcast yourself, there also will be interesting, maybe not, but the information regardless about it in the show notes as well. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode.